Never thought I would use the words taco walk together in a homeschool video, but here we are, and I'm not complaining. Hey guys, and welcome back if you've been here before. If you have not, then my name is Amanda, and I'm a brand new homeschool mom of a preschooler, and we also have an adorable little toddler sidekick. I swear she was just a baby about a month ago, so that's really hard to say still. This whole growing up thing is hard on my heart, guys. We are starting our preschool journey with the Blossom and Root Early Years 1 curriculum, and this week we are working our way through week 3. So let's do it. For our cloud study, I think that we were meant to kind of lay outside and look up at the sky, which sounds really nice and peaceful, actually, and I wish we would have done that, sort of, but our grass is a little jungle-like at the moment, and some sort of critter keeps coming and pooping in it, so ew. And also my 1-year-old is just kind of all over the place right now, so I figured she'd probably be off getting into stuff while we were trying to do it, which in my mind would most likely, be the poop. So instead we just kind of scrapped that, got in the stroller, and went for a taco walk. Our neighborhood has a ton of taco joints that we really haven't even started to work our way through, so this was kind of like a cloud study and a taco study in one. Boom. As we walked, there were plenty of clouds for the girls to check out from their stroller. Of course, in typical Lucy fashion, she saw a jumping dinosaur. Then we went home and broke out her nature journal to complete the art portion of this lesson. I stuck a piece of blue construction paper in there, and she used white chalk and a white crayon to draw some clouds using her hand. She's been really into handprints lately. I am going to link this nature journal below because it's awesome. I think it was under $10. It's really simple, and it gives us lots of space to write what we've done. We also went off book in math and art this week and sort of had like a little mashup lesson that combined these two sections just to save some time in an extra busy week. I had a teething baby and Easter coming up, so it just seemed like a little overwhelming when I looked in the curriculum to see what we had left to do for the week. So in that moment, I just kind of called an audible, switched it up to make it work for us. It took very little time to put together. I just grabbed materials that were literally within arm's reach from the dining room table where I was sitting. And I think that in the end, it actually ended up making the whole thing a little bit cooler. So we did the picture study first and talked about what she saw, who made it, all that good stuff. Then I set out a blue play scarf that you see here, some yellow and blue Play-Doh, and a few tools for her to work with, like a rolling pin, a knife, this weird little crinkle cutter. And then she just spent some time playing and recreating the picture on her scarf. No pressure, not a whole heck of a lot of direction. She just added lots of little pieces of Play-Doh to make the stars, and we incorporated math into this by doing things like counting the sides of the shape and angles. She made a little rectangle that was initially meant to be either a castle or a house, but she ended up making it into a tree house, and I love this. Starry Night totally just leveled up. It makes me think of all the great artists and how much cooler their work could be if they had a 3-year-old as their muse, right? Like if Lucy had been involved, the Mona Lisa would probably be like a superhero mermaid princess. For science this week, Lucy chose to paint in the front yard with some brown paint that looked like mud. Once it was out of the jar, it actually looked just like melted chocolate, but Hazel can tell you that it did not taste like chocolate. Lucy's been working through some anxiety surrounding bees and didn't want to gather materials in the backyard because of that, so we just grabbed a little bag of treasures that she collected outside of the Children's Museum in week 1, and she used these materials along with some pieces of long grass that we liberated from the neighbor's yard to make her picture. I encouraged her to do different things like rolling, dragging, stuff like that the curriculum recommended, but she didn't really love this experience overall and asked for a paintbrush multiple times. I think it was just frustrating for her that the items were just kind of making scratchy lines on the paper and it wasn't coming out the way she had imagined. As much as I try to encourage process over product and just have her have fun with the experience of making and exploring different materials, she's gotten to the point here at 3.5 where she does have a product in her head sometimes. And if that's what she wants to focus on, then I want to give her the tools that she needs to make it happen. In music this week, we explored dynamics, so paying attention to when the music is loud, when it's soft, and we did this with Mozart, and then we also did it again with Lori Berkner, of course. She's always sneaking in there. We sort of made our bodies smaller and bigger along with the music, which is what the lesson was supposed to be about, and that's what I was going for at least, but mostly the girls just kind of bounced off of the walls, bounced off of each other. We also sang Twinkle Twinkle this week, easy peasy, and then we hit YouTube to check out one of the Mozart Twinkle Twinkle videos that Blossom and Root recommended, but the link that I had in the PDF digital version just didn't seem to work right, so I just did a little search and may or may not have landed on the right one, but either way, it was super fun to watch, kind of like Guitar Hero, and it gave a cool visual of all the notes, the tempo, stuff like that. Then we also watched this Baby Einstein Mozart video, also on YouTube, and I ended up adding this one to the playlist that I have on here for them. It was just kind of simple, but also interesting. Lots of animal noises, stuff like slime, puzzles, stuff that kids like without too much action and distraction. And there were actually a ton of extra recommendations to go along with the Mozart and Van Gogh lessons here. I really would like to kind of circle back and check out a few more. The first two are definitely worth watching, and I'll link them in the description. The kindness and connectivity lesson for this week was supposed to be me making a special treat for Lucy just because I love her, and I do this all the time, guys. So we actually ended up just doing this kind of like we always do. I made her these sliced almonds and coconut for a snack and put them in one of my favorite mugs, which I think makes it a little more special. We also had some biscuits and cinnamon rolls for breakfast on the weekend, which has sort of become a special tradition that we all kind of look forward to. But those things were just kind of normal. So I felt like I needed to step it up, to do something a little bit different just for the sake of this lesson. So I kind of took this as an excuse to hit up the Ritas across from Aldi while I was there for a curbside order. This was Lucy's very first Rita's experience, and she picked out this unicorn thing, of course, with icy stuff and ice cream and glitter, but she ended up wanting ours, surprise, surprise, and ate most of Derek's chocolate thing, which he probably wasn't ultimately thrilled about, but he's awesome, and this was a great opportunity to talk about sharing, doing things out of kindness, out of love, just because you care about someone, which was the whole point, right? So we got the Little Owl's Night book from the library, and the girls read it here and there throughout the week and really liked it. I read it with them, but I also got the board book version so I could just kind of leave it laying around the living room and they could flip through it on their own too. We lucked out and got a really nice warm night this week. So we read it one more time together while we were having dinner just so I could have it fresh in their minds. And then we took a little walk down the block with a flashlight once it got dark. Lucy got really into this lesson and was pretty serious about finding things that were the same and things that were different between the book, which had this little owl in the woods, and our neighborhood, which is most definitely not the woods. We live in a city neighborhood with houses that are all squished together, so there were plenty of things that we were not able to find, like bears and skunks, thank goodness, and a few that we were able to find, like the moon, and also bats. We found plenty of bats. One bat kept flying back and forth, which was pretty nifty in like an awful, creepy kind of way, but then it peaced out when Lucy yelled at it. So fun fact, I guess bats are not particularly fond of screaming children. Go figure. And here's that nature journal again. We got it out the next day, and as I'm saying this, I'm realizing that she's wearing the exact same dress that she wore the night before on our walk. So she totally wore it, slept in it, wore it. Don't judge me, guys. But she's filling out a little bit about our night, our walk, what she saw in her nature journal. All right, in our kitchen classroom lesson for this week, we were meant to get a recipe from neighbors. And we were going to get a recipe from our favorites next door. They have a couple of kids, and I bet they would probably have something good to share. But of course, they just so happened to be on a cruise this week, so that was a no-go. We ended up making my mom's no-bake cookies. So when I talked to my mom about it and told her this is what we were doing, she actually reminded me that we used to make them into these little bird's nest kind of things around Easter time when I was little. So that really worked out well timing-wise. Lucy helped me measure stuff, and of course she sampled lots of the ingredients. She's really excellent at quality control. And then I took care of the cooking part while she hung out on the counter nearby, stuffing her face with oats. We plopped them out on some silicone baking mats and let them set for a bit, and then we made impressions in a few of them to make the little bird's nest, and then we added a few jelly beans to be the eggs. We took our no-bakes with us to visit family for Easter. It was cool that she got to make these and have something that she could contribute in a meaningful way. So clearly we went a little off book this week, and I think that illustrates where this curriculum, when you frame it and use it in a flexible way, where it really shines. Instead of looking at the curriculum for the week and kind of trying to figure out how I can make it work, how I can structure our lives to sort of check off all these boxes. Instead of doing that, I look at the curriculum and I figure out how I can bring it to meet us where we are. I can look at, our lives, our rhythm, if you even want to call it that, our girls, their interests, whether or not they're teething, what we have going on that week. And I can make it work for us, because although I do have to remind myself sometimes to not stress out, that it's okay to sort of switch things up here and there, this curriculum should be a resource. It should be a tool, and it's something that I can pull from that adds value to our days, something that adds good vibes, not stress. It should sort of simplify our days, right? Like not make them more complicated, adding to this never-ending to-do list that we all have anyway. I feel like this curriculum should be a sort of reprieve from that list for all of us. It's actually a really big part of my why for homeschooling. Speaking of which, I'm gonna have another little video popping up later this week all about those whys. So make sure that you subscribe, hit that bell so that you get notified when the video posts. When my future videos post, I hope that you come back here and continue to be my accountability buddies. And also go check out my Instagram at Foursquare Schoolhouse for some extra daily content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.